Hey everybody!
What's up?
So,
Now, before we get into this, I think we should probably preface this because if we don't, the internet will. We're both huge Marvel fanboy loyalists, and everything we say will be colored by such, and our unflagging loyalty to the Disney Corporation, ABC, and all subsidiary holdings.
what? I'm not that dedicated, man.
I swear to God, I'm going to sign you up for an improv class, and you're going to fucking go.
I am not a Marvel shill, Sean.
That's what we're going to say, because I actually kind of enjoyed the first half of this season. We're talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., by the way.
Yeah, we were gonna do weekly like we did, but I got behind.
Didn't watch the episodes and say, hey, let's shoot an episode, and so I was like,
Man,
well, I guess we'll just do whatever.
The difference is, between you and me, I didn't care for the first half that much.
I thought it was a significant improvement over the last season. I'll say that. It was set up well in the wake of the last season, and actually kind of paid off a lot of what was set up and thought of what was going to happen. Yeah. So I didn't really have any major problems with the first half.
Yeah, we're hitting mid-season plus episode 11 in this, so
Yeah, episode 11 is kind of where it takes a giant kick in the nuts, actually. So let's see what you had to think.
It's just,
since you were mostly negative, I'm usually mostly negative on these.
Well, it's just like jumping into like the future storyline. Like, I get they were doing the payoffs and everything like that from last season. I knew they weren't gonna stay there.
Right.
And I basically felt that it was just more of we're gonna set up to maybe bring a new character in, which they did.
Right.
And then just jump them back in time, and then we get the Chronomicons, the robot guys.
I don't know.
There's two of them that we've seen so far.
Yes.
They watch, but they don't interfere unless there's an extinction level event. So if I'm understanding correctly, they pulled the select few to the future to save mankind.
Yes.
From the Kree, I think the Kree destroying them.
Yes.
And then
that was
they were done
I really enjoyed that because it gave them a lot more freedom to play with what they were doing and what they could do.
Yeah.
That being said, this season got extraordinarily violent.
Oh,
all because it's blue blood, so it doesn't qualify
as
people blood. So keep that in mind. Kree are not people. Slaughter them at will.
Yeah, there was a lot. I think basically the biggest part of them jumping to the future was so they set all that stuff with the Kree up, so the Kree would then accidentally set up their own demise by giving the Geo Kid his powers.
Right.
So he can fix the Earth.
More or less, yeah.
Because that's what it was at the end of the mid-season. It was like, well, here's your blueprint.
Yeah, she hands him a little model art. And it's like, ah ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
But no, I actually kind of like the bad guy in this part of the season.
I did enjoy him.
I enjoyed him right up until the very end, where he just became a mugging chuckle fuck.
Yeah.
And just was like, I kill you. It's like,
yeah, he was
so much more interesting when you were calm and collected.
I was like, he was very cold and calculated.
Yeah, I like that about this guy.
He was really just out for himself.
Yeah, he reminded me a lot of a well-written comic book villain where he's not always necessarily ahead of the game, but he is always going to maintain that he is. He's never going to go out and say, "You've bested me in all my evil glory."
Yeah.
But here at the very end, they have him like that. Not like that, actually, until like the very end where everything's basically gone to shit, and then he just becomes, nah, beat you!
Yeah, and then there was, as far as, I think they are setting up for some of the episodes like barely had my attention. I'm not gonna lie. It's like there were a few that I was really like. The Fitz episode was one of my favorites.
I will
really
I will
enjoyed
say
that
this:
one.
it didn't have quite as many super great episodes, but there was rarely an episode where I was like, well, that just really sucked.
I did enjoy the Fitz episode though. That
Yes.
was like where it's like
It's revealed he's the Terminator looking dude that's been floating around.
yeah.
Yeah, that was nice. It
Well,
was nice to see him play against his normal attitudes.
Well, it's like he finds out like who the things were, where they took them, well, when they took them, because this was a different monolith.
I hate that fucking phrase.
It was a different monolith. Like we saw the one that took Gemma to Hive World,
Right.
basically, and this one took them to the future. So
Yes.
it's apparently there's at least 3 different types because we've seen a third one now, but we don't know what it
would
does.
appear so. Yes.
Yeah.
That being said, I didn't.
I said
I
I
didn't-
Hunterback for an episode was fun too.
Yeah, that was actually pretty fun too. That being said, I honestly forgot who the hell that was until I called him that. And so I was like, he goes to visit Fitz in prison. And I'm like, the fuck is this random Aussie? The hell's going? Oh,
Because you
right.
see him next to Mockingbird most of the time, but she's on
yeah,
Fox right
pretty much.
now.
Yeah,
So
she's currently second in command of the Orville. So
that's also why we didn't get Talbert back.
yes.
General Talbert is now hanging out on Supergirl.
Oh,
He got to shave his mustache and be a corrupt businessman.
yeah, good for him. So he's going back to his hero's roots.
Well, he's the bad guy, but yeah.
So he's going back to his
Yeah.
hero's roots.
He was one of those middle characters in Hero. He reminds me a lot of Nathan Petrelli.
There we
will say
go.
that, though.
No, like I said, the first half of the season was actually a lot of. I thought it was really good. I liked them being able to get out of their wheelhouse, usually of just being in random suburban town, icering people, I should say.
Yeah,
Or
they
it's
were
just
actually
knockout.
using like
It was
weapons
nice,
and rocks.
It was nice to
and-
actually see them have consequences to shooting people.
Yeah.
Which I understand is something you can't normally have in a show like this because a body count like that would rack up very, very quickly.
But now I think they're gonna find a way around that because when we jump,
Well, we'll get to that.
in a
We'll get to
second.
that in just a second.
I have something to say about the girl.
Oh,
too.
believe me, I have a lot to say about the beginning of the second half of this season. But no, the thing that really got me, part of it was I enjoyed the fact that they didn't explain time travel, but then at the very end they started to try and explain what version of time travel they're using. It's either time as a secular event and everything that has happened will happen again, or like if you travel to the future from the past, that means you were going to travel to the future from the past and therefore you would inevitably arrive back at the past. So it kind of becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy in a few points. But then they also play with the idea that maybe time is just a linear format and you just kind of jumped ahead a little bit, and that's the reason why these things didn't happen in the past. But you're never quite sure what the hell's going on with it, and I think it would have worked a lot better if they had just left it alone.
Yeah,
Because you meet a future version of Yo-Yo,
that was weird.
who apparently they've been cloning and killing and cloning and killing, and just keeping one version alive, I think. Did I see that right?
Something along the sorts, yes.
Feel free to correct me. This is
Yeah.
one of those episodes that it tried to explain itself, and it's just like, just stop, kids. You work better when you don't explain your pseudoscience. Learn from Star Trek Voyager.
I think the biggest part of this thing, like why it just started so late, because this thing had to start after Inhumans, which Jesus
Yes.
Christ.
That
we're not
was a
going to
show-
get into Inhumans.
Yeah,
Like,
that was a show that seemed to. It's very rare you encounter a show that not only fucks itself real hard, but then continues to butt fuck every other show in its lineup
yeah.
that came after it. But Inhumans is another story. Leave a comment if you want to see us do a full review of the Inhumans season 1.
Oh my god, the only season they're not getting that was canceled.
Yeah, well that's a story in and of itself. But long story short, they all eventually make it back to the Rock, and they time travel back in time to around when they left.
Yes, and they're instantly teleported to their new base, because that's what part of the first season set up, was their new base.
Well, I actually kind of like that, because it's established that the stone doesn't move you in place, it only transports you in time.
Yeah.
So having them do that to where it's a link to where you move to where the Rock is, that makes sense. Essentially, you would be able to transport from the Rock to the Rock.
Yeah.
So having the Rock in two different places meant that you would be able to time travel and physically travel. So that made sense to me. I was perfectly alright with that. And that concludes the first episode, or the first season, half of the season for the most part. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about it?
Well, I think we're getting a setup to the deal Coulson made with Ghost Rider, because he's...
Probably. It is hinted that he is dying. And
did it ever, like, where did that come from? What happened? I might have missed it. He has something on his chest that looks like poison.
You didn't see that? That was a whole big thing. They did that. Don't let him know. I'm just bullshitting my way through this. But no, I don't remember anything about that being set up. You're probably right, though. I can definitely see that happening.
Yeah.
One of the things I did want to touch on that I really enjoyed was the splitting of the team, and I enjoyed it and I didn't enjoy it because it created for some interesting dynamics between the group and how each version perceives how the job should be accomplished.
Yeah.
Because Mac, I hate to say it, but I got real tired of Mac real quick in this. I understand him wanting to find a peaceful approach to something. I truly do, and I'm all for the heroes trying to resolve something without resorting to violence at its most maximum. But at the same time, he is a very highly placed agent in one of the most secret organizations ever designed. He understands... I hate to use this term, but he understands the necessary loss that is sometimes incurred by having to lay low. I get wanting to try and have a character who doesn't like that, but when that is all he is doing and it's happening to the detriment of their mission,
yeah,
he really feels less like a well-written character and more like somebody you wanted to have say this dialogue just so you could add conflict into an already tense situation.
True.
Because everybody else seemed to get it through their feeble that it's like, yes, this situation sucks ass. We're not going to be able to help it. The Kree of one. We are in no position to actually mount a revolt right now. What we have to do is we have to lay low until we figure out what the fuck's going on and a way to even the score. And yet he's all gung-ho about, no, we gotta fucking stop him, this is wrong, we gotta fucking take him down. And it's like, calm your tits, big man. Just
but then
settle down for 5 minutes.
But then he was wanting to all do it himself and not let the little Geo kid get blood on his hands too. So
yeah, after he's witnessed what is essentially his mother figure get killed.
And then brought back to life.
Yeah, which was a really good idea at the start, but then they have no way to control her after they've done that. So it really seems like that's kind of a bad thing to do. It also minimizes it neutralizes any actual tension that one of them might die because they have this magical resurrection serum now.
Yeah.
So there's no real repercussion to death at that point. So it's just kind of like, we could just have every single one of them die and back up again. Which I think is what's going to happen with Coulson.
I mean, Coulson's already died once already, so...
Technically.
No.
So, I don't know. It just kind of... I enjoyed... Like I say, I enjoyed the splitting of the team. I liked...
What do you think of the new guy?
Well, I guess you were tired of talking about that then.
Well,
let's go ahead and talk about...
Well, we're talking about the team, and now he is technically part of the team.
I liked him when he was part of the future team.
Okay.
He served a point and a purpose in that time, in that area, and that was perfectly alright.
Now he's back.
Now he's back with no explanation of how or why. And
he was near the monolith.
Well, by that allocation of resources, half the station should have been transported back. I mean, what the hell?
Comic logic.
No, it just, unless they do something really, really good with this character, I don't see any real benefit to having him part of this. Now, because, like I said, he served his purpose in that portion.
Yes.
Everything's totally fine with him not coming back to the past. I actually really like the way they set him up, too, because Enoch tells him, is like, look, when this happens, everything's gonna be fucked. The person who's going to be powering this up, like, right next to me is gonna know. And when they call him and ask him, he's like, hey, how's it coming? He's like, oh my god. Yeah, it's all fine. Because he knows that if he says, look, this is going to blow if we do this, they're going to say, okay, don't do it.
No.
But he understands that there's something bigger than him that needs to happen. So it was a good character-defining moment, and I really don't think that he was needed to be brought back into the fold at this point.
Okay. That's a fair assessment. So...
You?
Man, when he showed up, he looked like a discount Star-Lord. I do think, you are right. He served his purpose, and then immediately they throw him into this new part, and he just immediately goes and gets drunk and starts fucking things up for
On
everyone.
Zima, the most hardcore of beer.
I didn't even know, I guess.
Oh, did you not see
I
that?
saw Zima, I've never tried Zima. I don't know what it is.
It's sugar water beer.
So it's like a Smirnoff?
Yes,
Right.
actually, it's very, very close. Think more like a non-apple flavored Reds.
Okay.
So, something like that.
Okay.
It's what frat boys get drunk on at sorority parties. It's not a beer. So it felt less like.
So it was product placement.
It was 100% product placement. Blatant as hell, too. You might as well have turned to the camera and gone, it's delicious.
He did. He did say that. He's like, it's the most delicious beverage in the world.
Yeah, and I'm just like, wow. Just not even trying to hide it this time. Damn, kids.
So, I wanna get to my beef with episode 11.
Okay, well let's set up the premise of episode 11 then.
So we start off and we meet a young girl in her room.
Yes.
Being bitched out by Talbert's replacement, who is her mother.
Yes. I was actually kind of okay with this because it showed, it reintroduced the character in a way that was sort of understandable. Because it would make sense that this very tight-reined parent, very militaristic lifestyle, would have a rebellious offspring.
Yeah, who has a picture that says Quake is my hero.
And and I was kind of like, alright, I can understand that. It's a rebellion against authority in a very subtle way. Something they can't exactly get super pissed at you for.
Yeah. And then, you go think there was like, well, that was kind of random, and I guess they just dropped that in there, but oh no.
Well, I was kind of hoping that would pay off later in the season, like something happens, and like her daughter is kidnapped or something, and like S.H.I.E.L.D. rescues him. And she's kind of like that's a character changing point for her. And she's like, oh, okay, S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't the bad guy.
I wanted the daughter to be somebody else because
okay.
I'm about to go on a little bit of an information thing here. That actress is the same actress who has been rumored and stuff for Spider-Gwen, Stacy, Spider-Woman. She is the one who voiced her in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon.
Okay.
So everyone was really wanting like that to be this character that maybe Sony was like, well, hey, you put her in S.H.I.E.L.D., we'll set her up and lead her to the movies, maybe hang out with Tom Holland. Because they're roughly around the same age.
No.
So, no, that's not what they did, and my dreams are now crushed because the daughter is now somebody else.
Yeah, I'm not too sure who the daughter is, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Because I kind of need you to explain to me who this other agent is that they met. Because they get a thing. They're saying that one of the big signals was, or things that triggered the aliens coming down was people saw this light coming down from the sky, but they slowed the frames down enough, which they actually explained it very well.
Yeah.
But they put it in a proper frame rate, and it's actually a signal being emanated up. So they find this this device in...
Oh, you don't remember who the other person is?
And I do not remember this character. They bust into this warehouse, and they find this beacon that's transmitting the signal, and they meet Agent...
I'll put her name down there. She's a background character. She's a background character.
Okay.
She has been a background character for about 3 seasons.
Okay, I don't feel bad about not knowing her then.
She was on the plane when Gemma and Daisy were in the Matrix thing. She was the one flying the plane. She's kind of like May's protege in a way.
Gotcha.
But she's just really very much... She's never really had any big story of her own. Like they were saying, the first time she showed up was when something had to do with that device. The first time it was set off like 2 or 3 seasons ago. It was just...
See, that would have been a perfect lead-in for saying, oh yeah, we have this extra person now who went through this bit of moral conflict. Because it turns out that she gave information to Talbert's replacement person. And that led them to be encountered by somebody wielding a Tron disc.
No,
and
Xena
robots.
Warrior Princess, dude. That was completely when Xena threw him. That was completely what that was.
It's the same thing they did with Tron, with the info discs.
Yeah.
So, and besides, I don't think Xena's ever cut anybody's arms off.
I'm pretty sure she did.
I don't remember Lucy Lawless chopping off arms. I remember Kevin Sorbo stomping new buttholes in people.
You're telling me 5 seasons and Xena cut off not one arm? I
don't say that she didn't. I remember a lot of ambiguous lesbian romance implied between her and her companion. I remember that because puberty-age Sean was like, yeah, that's right, get in the hot tub. But I don't remember her using her little, what you call them, discs? Chakrams, I want to say? That's not right.
Blade disc.
Her Tron discs. I don't remember her using her Tron disc to slice anybody's arm off. I remember it slamming into people's heads and getting them going, oh!
But that also, like, that scene right there set up kind of like the Kree did, where they ain't human, they're robots, we're going to blow them up.
Yeah, that, again, just kind of was like, oh, so this gives you a license to be ultra-violent again.
Yeah.
So, I'm just thinking in my head, if you want to have a shootout with these people, just have a shootout with these people.
Yeah.
Stop giving us all these stupid logic jump-throughs and going, oh, they're robots, we can kill them all. Either have the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. be violent or don't. but I'm tired of this middle ground where they have this like. It was kind of my problem with Kingsman. It's violent, but it's only just violent enough. It doesn't go that extra mile. That if you're going to have this, just have it.
Kingsman stuck a dude in a meat grinder. What are you talking about?
A very bloodless meat grinder.
This is true.
But anyway.
So, I'm also kind of wondering why the government sent like a... I'm going to ballpark this girl's supposed to be roughly... The actress is like 21, 22. I'm ballparking she's supposed to be like 17.
Something like that.
And has a weird hard-on for Quake.
Right.
And is just like leading this robot army. Is she inhuman? Does she have powers? Is
I don't
this
know.
thing part of her shtick? Like, what's the deal? And I
think she's an assassin droid. Which is an android assassin. In case you couldn't pick that up. But
think so.
Well, that's really the only thing because I don't remember her retrieving that disc anyway. It just kind of flew back into her hand.
It's like a boomerang. That's how Xena's was. I'm telling you, man.
Xenas were mystical, weren't they? No?
No.
Then it was just shitty screenwriting. But these fly through the air and slice through Yo-Yo's arms, and she bleeds all over the place, which, by the way, dead.
Oh.
Like, just by the time they actually got her back to the Quinjet, she's long died of blood loss. Unless the blades cauterized the wound as they went, like a lightsaber, she's dead.
No, that's Black Panther's girl.
Did that happen in Black Panther?
She had the same kind of weapons. And
yeah, she did. No, that was the one that really reminded me of Tron.
Yeah. Hers definitely did look like Tron disc.
Hers was
sure.
Tron. She was just Tron. But yeah, and I was just kind of like, what the fuck? And not like a good, oh my god, what the fuck? But it's like, okay.
Well, it's like when the chick like,
and then she starts saying, "It's all coming true. It's all coming true." I'm just like, what?
What evil or undead Yo-Yo told her, I guess.
Right, but again, that leads into problems in the logic of the time travel that they had set up, that everything was in a linear progression and they just jump forward a little bit and then jump back. So, I don't know.
I immediately knew who it was when the girl said kill him. I'm like, you didn't even really try to cover her voice up that much. There was no mystery.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious that.
So like when she walks in at the end and like
General's daughter
takes the mask off, I'm like, well, there went my Spider-Gwen dreams.
Yeah, no, I was just sitting there. I'm diddly bopping on my phone at this point, and she removes her hood, and I just look. I was like, oh yeah, that was her.
It's like, man, she's like, I want Daisy Johnson. It's like, why do you have a hard-on for Quake, chick?
Well,
what is this class you're going to? Like,
apparently it's some kind of class where she's locked up in her room behind a giant vault safe.
She's got to be inhuman.
I'm sure she is. I'm sure it's going to be one of those, her powers, she was inspired to use her powers by Quake, and it's kind of, she's developed this obsession of the character. And it's going to be something like that, and it's going to be really goddamn stupid.
I think Quake's taking a shitty role in this season, too, because now she's afraid of she's like, it's all my fault. It's like, man, when I saw the busted up world, I was like, that had to be something Thanos did.
Well, they do say it happened from the Kree.
Yes.
So I am not super on board with her being the super cautious, like, I can't go out. But if they are going to start introducing more characters, I would rather her take kind of a backseat role so that they can introduce some other people and kind of give them more screen time.
But you know that's not going to happen with this specific villain having, like, this weird hard-on for her. Like, she's going to... Like, they're setting her up to be this pivotal player because, like, now she thinks the end of the world is her fault.
Right.
Even though Infinity War's, like, 3 months away, and...
We're not going to be finished with this series by then.
It's only got about 10 episodes left.
No, we might get a lead-in then.
Yeah.
Well, then again, we thought we would have a lead-in with last season to Doctor Strange, but that didn't happen.
That's another problem I've had with the show. I can get, like, sometimes being disconnected from the movies. It feels like after at the beginning of last season, this thing is just totally, like, the last thing that had any repercussions that didn't have any repercussions in the show was Civil War.
Right. That was kind of one of the other things I thought when Yo-Yo lost her arms. I'm just like, so? We've already established that you can have robot arms that are just as good, if not better, and blend in perfectly.
Yeah.
So, losing a limb is not exactly a big deal for this universe.
I mean, Coulson's got the robot hands. So.
Right. So, like I say, I don't know. I think with the reintroduction of the guy from the future, they kind of pissed away any goodwill they had with his scene build up and payoff for his character, and I really don't see him being anything more than just "I'm here too" guy. I'm sort of interested for what they do with Coulson because he has been in more major films lately. And so if this is kind of his way of saying, I kind of want to do some more large-scale stuff for a little while. Because, like we say, we know he likes playing the character.
Yeah.
He enjoys it, and it's good work. And he does good. He's a good actor. I like him a lot. But if he is wanting to do more film, then this might be his way of kind of not quite leaving the show entirely, but placing himself on a back burner so that Coulson isn't a focal point of every single episode.
Kind of putting him back to, I have to go on all these missions by myself, and, he disappears and shows up. Kind of like Fury, except we haven't seen Fury since Civil War.
Well, that's because S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't officially exist anymore, remember?
Yeah. Well, they did, and now they don't again.
Right. Which, if we could just get some kind of explanation and be like, alright, can we just say whether or not S.H.I.E.L.D. is or isn't?
They never got that much shit in the comics.
No. And S.H.I.E.L.D. did some fucked up things. They out Uatu the Watcher's good eye and supplanted it with his bad one. And then killed Uatu!
Don't forget, Fury also was the one who made Thor unworthy to hold his hammer.
Yes. So, yeah, Fury's done some fucked up things.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in and says, I'm back in charge of this shit.
I would love that.
I don't know why I became Morgan Freeman instead of Samuel L. Jackson. Coulson, I'm taking over the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. now. Dr. Fury, you've changed a lot. Yes, I have. I had to go narrate some penguins.
I don't know. I'm hoping next week they have to do something big because it's their 100th episode. If not,
you say that
they're gonna piss. Well, they've been setting it up like the commercial was like, it's the groundbreaking 100th episode.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah,
groundbreaking. They're gonna quake the world apart.
Apparently,
I hate advertising. I don't know what they're gonna do. This is another one of those. I got what they were doing, and I understand what this season should be.
They've hinted at Lash and Ward coming back for episode 100.
I really hope it's not Ward.
No, like Hive Ward. Like
I really don't care because
like Octopus Head. Like it didn't even show Ward; it was Octopus Head.
I don't care. Anything that has to tie into Ward, I'm done with.
I think it's just going to be like a nightmare dream scenario episode where they bring Lash back, and he was actually a decent character. God, I miss Lash.
Isn't he dead though?
Yes, he is. So was Hive.
But Hive is kind of this more existential villain. Or not existential. More like the Cthulhu mythos type deal, where it can't truly die.
I don't know. Maybe.
Because it inhabited a rotting astronaut corpse for a long while. So, I don't know.
It was floating in space. Maybe it came back. Maybe that's what feature guy came back to be the host for Hive.
Well, you never know. If they blow him up with the rocket launcher, all Death Wish 3, then I'd be kind of on board for that.
Not to mention, which brings us to the end of the episode.
Oh?
Bomb. The Kree thing was a bomb and it blew up.
Was it?
Yes!
Oh.
And then at the end we see the general lady go pick up an absorbing man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember now. Yes, it was.
He was jogging in Philadelphia, all Rocky style, with his hood on.
Yeah, not
and she's
quite
like,
sure why he's
Mr.
out.
Creel, I need you.
All she needed to do was be sitting in a white pantsuit stroking a cat.
Yeah, it's like you're supposed to be the government.
Is way too evil.
Yeah, she's
like, yes, you will work for me, now won't you?
Talbot was a dick, but he kind of played both sides.
Right. No, I believe Talbot. I believe Talbot was a military general. He was somebody who didn't always get the full picture, but he tried his damnedest. This person is just unapologetically evil, and not in like a good over the top way.
No, she's just like, fuck S.H.I.E.L.D, fuck everyone, I'm right, everyone else is wrong.
She's
going
to
to
be part of
my
Hydra.
teenage daughter as an assassin.
She's going to be part of Hydra.
Well,
that's what's going to happen. It's going to turn out she's going to whisper in her assassidroid daughter's ear, it's like, go forth, hail Hydra, let me switch you to kill all position. Click.
I don't think the daughter's
She's got this
robot.
giant switch in her back that just says kill and off. And he just goes.
I don't think the daughter's a robot.
She might be an LMD, you never know.
Nah, they wouldn't keep her in a room. They'd just turn her off like the other robot cyborg soldiers.
What if they don't know how to turn her off? Because they don't know how she turned on.
I knew that's what you were going.
Tell me that's not dumb enough to be up this show's alley.
You're not wrong.
I mean, we had the entire issue with that last season.
I don't know where they're going. This. Not making it easy.
I don't know. I'm just saying, it's like we have all these things that happen, but like there aren't any consequences for them to happen. Like I say, Yo-Yo loses her arms. It's like, so we have technology to fix that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like she's going to have those two little hook hands like the dude in Tropic Thunder.
No, I mean, she's the third person to lose arms in Marvel stuff.
Well, second in the TV show. Because the only other person I can think of is Bucky.
Misty.
Did she lose an arm?
And Defenders.
Oh, again, I didn't watch Defenders.
Misty lost her arm.
Iron Fist kind of made me lose interest in that, so... Nice job, Danny Rand. You sucked your own series, and then you sucked all the life out of the other series for me.
Dude, it was Defenders was good.
And then he got in trouble for molesting women on set.
What?
Yeah. You didn't hear about this shit?
I'll have to go Google it.
I
God damn it, Finn Jones. God damn it.
think it was him anyway. If it wasn't, it was somebody who looked a lot like him. I'm pretty sure I remember reading that. Then again, I may have just hallucinated that. But had some fucked up dreams lately.
You got anything else to say? Because I think we've covered everything.
Not really. You got any predictions for this?
I don't know where they're going. I was spot on last year with them.
I understood where they were going last part of this season. I was like, okay, I'm on board for this. Mm-hmm. This is different. It's new. Let's see what they do. And they did okay. I thought they did fine. And so when they go back in time, they said, I was like, okay, I know what they should be doing. This season, this part of the season should be them prepping, getting ready for this big fight that's going to come, and then the end of the season will be the fight that it happens. Or we'll get confirmation of when it will happen.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I don't think that's going to happen now. It feels like they've added way too many extra steps to
My
this.
problem with Marvel lately is they're just doing too much. And it's like they wanted to connect the TV show and the movies, but now they just feel completely separated from each other. And it's like, you want to have all these connected, but you're not willing to put your TV show characters in the movies, and your movie actors are way too expensive to afford in a TV show.
But you'd be surprised, actually.
Minus, like, the B characters, like Sif, or when Sam Jackson's willing to make an appearance, because that man will do a Capital One commercial. That man will not turn down work.
Yeah, he's effectively Black Nicolas Cage at this point. And
he still makes good movies.
Nicolas Cage occasionally makes a good movie, too. You just have to
so
qualify that. Because
it's very rare.
Well, at the same time, Sam Jackson didn't exactly make great movies in the first part of his career.
Oh, he's made a ton of crap movies. I'm taking like The Spirit.
Also that.
I never accused him.
Then again, that's that. To be honest, The Spirit, that's Frank Miller.
Yeah.
I'm not going to blame anybody in that movie for what they did. Because I've read Frank Miller comics, and after a certain point, Frank Miller just went clinically insane. Seriously, have you ever read the RoboCop 2 comic book they put out, which is based off his original draft for the script?
Bits and pieces, yes.
It is fucking bonkers. Like, I've read the entire thing, and it is hideously insane.
Thanks, Frank Miller.
But to be fair, he did a lot of really great work early in his career. I mean, Daredevil, when he started helping get it revived, really good work on that. The Dark Knight Returns, 300, a little revisionist history, but, you know, I've seen way worse.
Yeah.
God, what was the other big thing? Actually, there's a small run he did on RoboCop versus Terminator, which is way better than it has any right to be. And he worked on that. And just somewhere along the way, Frank Miller lost his fucking mind. And I don't really know where it went wrong. I think it happened at DK2. Because that book got weird fast. Have you ever read that?
The second one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was batshit.
Yeah. Where?
Robin was Catgirl, and then like
Carrie Kelly, yeah. We should qualify that because there's another Robin that comes in that is somehow immortal.
Yeah,
and angry at Bruce and is killing heroes.
Dick Grayson.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then Catgirl swallows a naked Adam.
That book's just weird.
It is really weird.
And then like half the Justice League show up. It's a strange book.
Yeah, like I say, Frank Miller used to be very good. We strayed really off topic at this point. Long story short, Frank Miller's eat his own pants crazy, and it wouldn't surprise me if it turned out that he's an uncredited writer for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point, the way they're pulling stuff out their ass. I tied it all in for you.
I need something to get me through the rest of this season, man. It's just been rough. Like, that's why we had it.
Last season really was a downer for me. It pulled a lot of plot threads out of nowhere, and it resolved them very, very clunkily, and it didn't feel earned when it all wrapped up with everybody kind of happy. So having this be effectively a shorter version where they only have 2 major plot lines, I'm okay with this. They're just going to have to really try extra, extra hard because of this rocky start that it just kind of comes out of left field.
Yeah.
And derails what should be the plot.
Well, let us know what you guys think. Are you enjoying the season? Are you not? Or you just want S.H.I.E.L.D. to be done? You want the characters back in the movies.
Do you think Frank Miller is an unabashed genius and we're just a couple of blowhards who don't understand his greatness?
And,
spoiler alert, you're only half right.
Which half, though?
We're a couple of blowhards. So technically that would be a quarter right.
Well, until then, we will, we're going to do an episode next week for the 100th.
We'll see. Provided somebody remembers to watch it this time.
Oh, you got behind too. Fuck off.
Yeah, because we were eventually 5 episodes deep, and I was just like, well, I guess we're not doing it anymore. And you're like, hey, let's do this thing. I'm like, God damn it, now I gotta catch back up.
Alright, guys. Well, until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Laters.